Guys, I want to tell you about our friends over at Frost Buddy. It is drinkware engineered to keep your beverages exactly how you want them. Whether you're heading out for an adventure or just powering through your day, Frost Buddy's flagship product, the Universal Buddy, replaces the need for multiple can coolers by fitting virtually every 12-ounce and 16-ounce can bottle you drink, sodas and seltzers to coffee and sparkling water, all in a single versatile design. Constructed with high-quality double-walled stainless steel and thoughtful features like a flexible silicone lid and a tapered shape that fits most cup holders, Frost Buddy keeps drinks cold for 12 hours and hot for up to 6 hours. So you get consistent temperature control, whether it's an iced drink on a hot afternoon or a hot coffee on the drive to work. Built to last, field tested for durability, and backed by a 30-day return policy, Frost Buddy makes everyday moments, from tailgates and beach days to backyard cookouts and commutes, more enjoyable. Going over and click the link below and use promo code SSS15 to get 15% off of your first purchase when you visit our friends over at frostbuddy.com. And when you use that promo code SSS15. Are you tired of spending upwards of $7 to $8 on coffees that are full of sugar and high in fat? Well, look no further than Chike Nutrition, the brand redefining what coffee can do for your day. Chike Nutrition combines the rich, familiar taste of real coffee with 20 grams of high-quality protein and the energy of 2 shots of espresso, giving you both fuel and function in every scoop. Available in a variety of crave-worthy flavors like mocha, caramel, vanilla, and many more, Chike delivers smooth, cafe-style iced coffee that mixes instantly with water or your favorite milk, with no clunky blender or complicated prep needed. Each serving is designed to be low in sugar, packed with protein, and loaded with real espresso, so that you can get a sustained energy boost that helps power your morning, workout, or busy afternoon without the crash that comes from sugary coffee drinks. Whether you're looking for better nutrition in your coffee routine or a smarter way to stay energized and full longer, Chike makes it simple. Scoop, shake, sip, and enjoy. If you want to take advantage of the new year and get in the best shape of your life, click the link below and get yourself 10% off of your first order over at ChikeNutrition.com. Okay, there we go. Man, what a week it has been in the college football news. And yeah, there's never a dull moment in college football. A lot of stuff that happened over the week. We're going to get into every single detail that happened over this past weekend. We have a lot to break down. We have a lot that we have to cover. Guys, welcome on inside the Southern sports scene. Make sure you all do us a favor. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell notifications so that you are notified every time we go live, posting a video or posting a short on the Southern sports scene. Every live show brought to you by our good friends over at Frost Buddy. Going over to frostbuddy.com, use the promo code SSS15 to get 15% off your first purchase. That is code SSS15 to get 15% off of your first purchase. Also, we want to thank our friends at Chike Nutrition. 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat, and 1 gram of sugar, and every healthy, hearty cup of Chike Nutrition. Guys, get on over to Chike Nutrition and click the link below, by the way, down below, so that you can take advantage of the new deals. 10% off of every scoop of Chike Nutrition products. And as always, guys, we want to thank our friends and partners over at Buzzer for allowing us to post our videos, our live shows, and so much more on the Buzzer app. Guys, make sure you download the Buzzer app today so that you can take advantage of being a verified creator, being part of the Buzzer community. We'd love to welcome you. Guys, get on over to buzzer.com today or download the Buzzer app on your Apple or Android device. Guys, boy, did we have a week at SEC Media Days. We were not able to attend. I didn't even try. this year because I know, I mean, come on, look at me. I'm not credentialed good enough to be an SEC media member just yet. But last week we were able to go to Sunbelt Media Days. It was a fun time out there in New Orleans. So might hit a little bit of Sunbelt Media Days as well. We also had Maction this week. I know our guy Jake from the College Football Red Zone community, they got to go to SEC Media Days earlier this year, or not SEC, but MAC Media Days earlier. So that was obviously a lot of fun for them, but we'll see. Darren, yeah, no, why? I don't work next Friday. What's up? Got our guy Darren Berna in the live chat at the end of the day. Artistically Incredible says, does it change location every year? I think so, because next year it'll be in Nashville. This year it was in Tampa. For the longest time, it was in Birmingham. But let me see what the location history was, because they've been – so the last couple of years since 2023 – yeah, it was in Nashville last year. It'll be at the Grand Hyatt next year. 22 and 25, it was in Atlanta. 2 years ago, it was in Dallas. I would have loved to go to Atlanta, not going to lie. But for the longest time, it was in Birmingham for about 20 years. But, I mean, I don't know why it kind of moved from there, but I guess trying to expand further out. I can see why they went to Dallas in 2024 because of the addition of Texas into the SEC. Caden the Diesel Freak is in the house. Appreciate you, Caden, for watching us once again. Make sure y'all go on over and like, share, and subscribe down below. It also says SEC Media Days were what I thought. Caden, I would love to get your thoughts. I'm going to post a call-in link in about 15, 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to let you in. Obviously, you have some thoughts from SEC Media Days. We love to see it. He also says, honestly, I don't know what his – oh, I guess he was just finishing up on what he was mentioning earlier. Let me see what else we have here. Let me check out some other comments. He has tickets to the Saints camp. Ooh, interesting. Let me check and see what I'm – wait. Darren, I can't go because I'll be in Oklahoma next week. My bad. I'll be on vacation, so – I would love to go, man. I would love to go see is it their first day of minicamp, or is it like OTAs and stuff still? Because I'm intrigued. But no, I can't make it next week, man. I apologize. What part of camp is it? Oh, what part of Oklahoma? I'll be going out to Broken Bow. So that'll be fun. But all right, guys, let's get into all that we have to talk about today. SEC Media Days was obviously this week. Look, it was – boy, did we get some good sound bites from SEC Media Days. But let's talk about really the start. Let's talk about day one and what Greg Sankey addressed in his opening remarks. Okay? The biggest thing that obviously was said is Greg Sankey is going to continue to float an SEC breakaway. So he mentioned this earlier on Monday. So he kind of talked about it earlier during the spring meetings back in May. And look, I think that it's interesting that they continue to have this discussion about breaking away. I've been talking a lot of things about maybe the SEC will be breaking away. Maybe the whole Power Four should break away from the NCAA, because I absolutely abhor the NCAA. I think college football still needs its own super league. I think they need their own set of rules, their antitrust laws to protect these student athletes. But when you look at where they're at right now, Greg Sankey said this about the speculation about conversation around the SEC breaking off to do its own thing. He said, quote, "They're real. People have talked about that. They've opined about the frustrations that bring them to the point of saying we should look at something significantly different. I do not believe that is a leverage point. I think that's just honest communication." I mean, I don't know, man. Here is where, and look, if you watched one of my videos earlier this week, myself and Sammy Davis from, excuse me, or not Sammy Davis, excuse me, Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. We talked about it on one of our videos about whether or not the playoffs should expand. And we talked specifically about whether or not the SEC should break off and if the Big Ten would follow. He obviously had a little bit of disagreement with me about that. And it also does depend on whether or not the calendar gets fixed in college football, which is ultimately what this is all about at the end of the day. There is no way that college football should be ending near the end of February. And for them having to compete with the NFL is ridiculous. The only reason why the NFL is more successful at this point is because of more TV deals. And frankly, each NFL team has their own region where they will dominate their own markets. Okay? You also have the fact that there are several teams in college football in one state. Okay? Let's remember that. So there's not a whole lot of market because some guys will be watching this team, some guys will be watching that team, and the TV ratings are going to get so construed. Meanwhile, in the NFL, you have 3 major networks that are displaying NFL games. NBC, well, really 4. NBC, CBS, Fox, and ESPN. Those 4 are going to combine for a lot of views, okay? Especially when it comes to Monday night. That's where your primetime viewers are going to be. You also have to add in the fact that, I mean, you could include Prime if you want to for Thursday night games, but I mean, I really wouldn't. But for college football, it's a lot different. That's where things are going to get construed. But in reality, popularity of college football is widely much more popular than the NFL. It's not an opinion, it's just a straight up fact for you. When you also have these issues that the SEC has had with going 3 straight years and they have not even reached a national championship yet. You've had the Big Ten that has established themselves as the conference right now in college football. Okay, there's no debate on it. That's where Sankey looks at this and says, okay, what if we just split off and we go on our own? That is where the issue lies. Guys, I am completely against it. Okay? I thought about it, and I have contemplated this for a very long time. I'm not for the SEC going to break off. Okay, it just doesn't seem to make any logical sense at this point in time. Do I think that we will have a Super League at some point? Yes. Do you know why? Because it'll make sense. It makes sense for the college football playoff. All right, here's where I'm going to disagree with some of you. Artistically Incredible says, I wish we had a G5 playoff. Okay, well, here's the problem there. How does it work when it comes to the scheduling? And it's fine that you have that opinion. I'm not hating on you that you have that, but in my opinion, it's kind of useless to have a G5 playoff. It doesn't make sense. If you want to have a G5 playoff, you might as well have like 3 different tiers. You have tier 1, which is, well, I mean, that still wouldn't make any sense. But honestly, at this point in time, here's what matters more to a G5 school or a G6 school. It mattered more 5 years ago when the G6 got into a New Year's Six Bowl and won. Mattered more then. When Cincinnati broke that trend in 2021, that's when the expectations started to rise. And let's just be clear, Cincinnati earned that 4 seed too. Okay? And it's not like that Cincinnati team was bad. That was a very competitive game. They took out, they gave Alabama a run for their money in 2021. I don't care what the final score was. That was a competitive ball game. I enjoyed watching that. And people are going to complain about how the G6 shouldn't be in the playoff. James Madison put up 500 yards of offense against Oregon. So they shouldn't be in. JMU deserved to get in. And for everybody arguing about Duke should have gotten in, do you think Duke would have been more competitive with Georgia, with Oregon, with Miami compared to James Madison? Really? Duke lost to Tulane, and they lost to UConn. They were a hot team down the stretch of the year. I agree. Fantastic end of the season. Guys, that defense was a weak point too. So you would have been fine with an 8-win ACC champion in over an 11 or 12-win Sun Belt or American Conference champion? Would you? Realistically, think about that. Would you have been happy with that? Because I'm telling you right now, the product wouldn't have been good on the field. Duke would not have stood a chance against Oregon. At least James Madison was competitive, okay? I get the final score was a 20-plus point difference. JMU still put up 30-plus points and 500 yards of total offense. It's not like they weren't competitive at all. This team kept fighting and fighting and fighting to the very end. That Tulane game is one thing, okay? But for everybody advocating that, oh my gosh, G5 shouldn't be involved in the playoff at all. Really? I mean, are you no? I mean, are you stupid? Are we thinking logically here? Because you got to understand the way that college football is run at this point, it is going to benefit Power 4 from here on out with 5 for 5, with how NIL is going to be structured, depending on what happens with PCSA. Who knows? But I will tell you one thing. No way are you going to convince me that the G6 should be left out of the playoff. But back to the SEC leaving. It is going to be an interesting topic of conversation that is going to be put to the table for the next couple of months. These conversations will ramp up depending on what happens with PCSA. I do believe that'll impact the decision. And guess what? Who knows? Maybe the SEC does break off. Good luck. And I know I've been kind of back and forth about my decision on this. But if you realistically want to break off and start your own conference, so are you going to play each other? How much? That doesn't really make much sense to me. It doesn't. And I think it sends the wrong message. And that is the only thing I see Petitti kind of being, Tony Petitti specifically, kind of being hesitant on, is that. is following the SEC. Should Power 4 just play Power 4? And Saban brought it up during media days. It's an interesting concept. Do I think it make much sense? No, not really. So does that mean top American conferences have? So here's the thing. I'm all for a super league at this point. Here's why I say that. Okay. If you are able to establish your own organization, you have people that are involved that understand the business of college football, that understand how college football is supposed to be run. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But anyways. But I just don't see a scenario where this logically makes sense. Where the G6 is no longer a part of college football, where they, oh my gosh, they want their own playoff. No, that would not make sense logically. Guys, here's what also is a pretty stunning realization. Brett McMurphy tweeted out earlier today, which, by the way, screw you, Brett McMurphy. Me and him have kind of a, I'm not really fond of him. That's just my 2 cents in there. Anyways, Brett McMurphy put out that 78% of the Americans all-conference team is now at a P4 school. Insane to me. Absolutely insane. But it goes to show you what happens when that side of college football is influenced. What happens when you have a much bigger NIL, much more of a pool of money that it can be spread around to these athletes. That's what ultimately is going to be the difference for these guys. That's what happened with North Texas. When Eric Morris left to go take the Oklahoma State job, there was a huge outpour. I don't even know if really it was NIL related, but I'm sure Mestamaker got paid a handful of money, much more than he did at North Texas. Same with Wyatt Young, same with Caleb Hawkins. That's what makes Oklahoma State a very, very interesting team. All right, next segment. Well, we'll continue on with SEC Media Days, and we'll talk about some more sound bites later on. But before we continue on, I don't know why this keeps doing this. I promise I'm not clicking on anything. Big news earlier Wednesday as David Gabriel Georges, the number 2 running back in the class of 2027, committed to Tennessee, now at the Baylor School in Tennessee. Guys, this kid is a freaking incredible football player. 5'11", 120, 5'11", 200-pound guy, 11 yards per rush. It's incredible. It was a battle between Ohio State and Tennessee. And speaking of Ohio State, who better to bring on to talk about this? You love him. He's a regular on here. I figured I'd see him today. It's Caden from Ohio. Y'all know him as Caden, as the Diesel Freak. It's Caden the Diesel Freak. Hey, Caden, how are you tonight, brother?
My guy, Lucas Hill. How you doing, my man?
What's up, man? So let me ask you this. Why do you not show your face on here, but just show it on Voice of College Football? Are you naked or something?
I'm not. And it's just like everybody see my face. I mean, who has not seen my face?
People on this channel.
Well, you know what? For the love of God, Lucas, hold on.
It's real. Here we go.
I'm only going to put the sunglasses on because I just like to stay a little drippy.
Did you drink a Mountain Dew?
No, actually, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, I'll be darned.
I literally haven't this entire day, so.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Here we go. The guy has to stay a little drippy, huh?
What? Somebody's got to. Even better. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Let me see. Where is it?
You know what you need to do, Caden? You need to give me some Ohio State gear.
I got Ohio State gear.
Okay, do you wear an XL?
Do what?
Do you wear an extra large?
No.
You need to tip some Ohio State gear that is a size extra large out to Baton Rouge.
Well, unfortunately, Lucas Hill, I don't wear anything extra large. So, unfortunately, with that, sir.
Get you some. Okay, well, Christmas is coming up.
Oh, trust me, I've got enough Ohio State gear in my in the closet. So.
Okay. Caden, what'd you think of the DGG commitment? And we talked about it on Tuesday. We knew he was going to Tennessee.
Right, but I said to Jackson he missed out on joining a super team. Ohio State is a super team. But
here's the thing too, Caden. You understand why he went there is because of the dollar. Did you see his statement that he put out on Twitter?
I mean, I saw his statement, and yeah, Tennessee's offering him a lot of money.
It is.
But it's like, what's the point? What's the point of Tennessee offering him a lot of money when Ohio State offered him a full-time starting position, but also to join a super team?
Caden,
like, in my opinion,
that's what money does. Nobody could care less about the whether you start or not, which he probably will. He is, no question about it. But
Tennessee offered him a lot of money. Money is the root of every talk and bribe. It's, I mean, like I said, it's a pain in the butt, but you know what? Ohio State's got running backs, and we've got a couple that are good, and we've got a couple that are actually going to step up this season. So, I mean, DGG to me, he made a poor decision on his end.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not
going to Tennessee
because of his decision. He made a business decision at the end of the day. But
he made a business
I really believe that he's going to start
year. It's a business decision, but really, the conference he's going to be in, and against Georgia's defense especially, Tennessee's running game hasn't really been good against that Georgia defense. So I'm going to be surprised. I mean, I've seen the last couple of times that Tennessee's ran the ball against Georgia, and I'm like, I literally have a feeling that they're going to stop DGG. They're going to put some heavy pressure on them. So, I mean, that's just what I think. But I could be wrong or an idiot. You could tell me otherwise.
I mean, people call you that anyway, and they call me that too. So it's okay. But I do want to kind of read this statement that he put out earlier today. Let me see if we can all see it for a minute. Oh, shoot. Let me see. Yeah, that's good enough at the end of the day. First and foremost, I give all glory to God for his countless blessings and for faithfully guiding me throughout this journey. Without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. I also want to express my clear gratitude. Encourage me along the way. Your belief in me. Blah, blah. I also feel it is important to address something. Okay, this is the biggest thing that is going to be. I'm not saying the entire statement is bad, but I think this is the most important thing that has to be addressed. I also feel it is important to address something. What should have been one of the most meaningful and joyful moments in my life at times has been overshadowed by negative media coverage, false narratives, and unfair assumptions about both my character and my family. I understand the passion, excitement, and pride that college football inspires, and I have great respect for every fan base and every program involved in this process. However, any form of harassment and the spread of misinformation is simply uncalled for. This decision was mine and was made through careful thought, prayer, and countless conversations with those I trust most. I respectfully ask that my decision be honored and that people refrain from making assumptions or spreading false information. As I move forward, my focus remains on finishing the school year strong, continuing to grow as a student, a football player, most importantly as a person. I am incredibly excited for the opportunities that lie ahead and looking forward to embrace every challenge with humility, gratitude, and a relentless commitment to becoming the best version of myself. Okay, here's what I'll say on that. I understand why he's going to say that, because obviously he's got to say it, because people are going to continue to spread the narrative that it was NIL related, which it is. Okay, there is no denying that is a fact. There is zero fact denying that is a fact. How much money that they spent on him, that's another question. I have no idea. But I do believe that his NIL deal and his value at this point in time is somewhere around $2 million per year. So he's gonna, from what I have seen, his NIL deal is valued at about $6 million over the course of 3 years. Is valued at over $5.7 million over the last 4 seasons, over the next 4 years. So it's close to $2 million at the end of the day. But I mean,
Tennessee offered him a good amount of money to commit.
Exactly.
It doesn't surprise me.
But here's my point, Caden, is that now with that commitment, Ohio State has a lot more money in their pool so that they can go out and spend that NIL money elsewhere. This is exactly the same thing that LSU did whenever Bryce Underwood decided to decommit from there and commit to Michigan. And by the way, National Signing Day isn't until December, because there is no such thing as a February signing day anymore.
It's December.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, man, when you have that much money that you're putting on one player,
it's a risky move.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say that it's a risky move. I would also say that you're putting your trust in a player that you're basically telling them, hey, you better be worth what we paid you. If not, it's going to be
bad day.
It's going to be rough. Artistically Incredible says, I can understand a quarterback getting that money, but not a running back. But you got to understand, too, this is the running back position is also a very high-paying position at the end of the day. And it's not like it's an absurd amount of money too. I mean, $2 million a year is
it's a decent amount.
It's not anything compared to like what Jeremiah Smith or what a Bryce Underwood or
Chris Henry Jr.
Huh?
Chris Henry Jr.
How much is Chris Henry Jr. getting paid?
Close to $5 million, $6 million is what I heard.
Is it really?
One of the highest paid recruited receivers in the country, besides Jeremiah Smith.
Okay.
Which, I mean, Chris Henry Jr., for what he's done and what he's going to do, I mean, to be fair, Chris Henry Jr. has proven what he's going to be. And from what I saw at camp and from, practice sessions, he's that guy. He is. It's not going to be just, all talk. He's going to do the work. I said it about Chris Henry Jr. I've watched him at the facility. I watched him through camp, and I could instantly tell why. And I not just as a fact, I dang sure know it personally. In fact, he's going to do what Marvin Harrison did. He's going to follow the steps of Chris Olave, David Boston, Chris Carter. He's going to do a lot of great things at Ohio State.
I mean, we'll see, man.
We'll see.
With the way that offenses, but Caden, understand what I'm getting at. With the way that offenses are being run and the way that, listen, I'm not sitting here and going to take a freaking shot at Arthur Smith. And I'm not saying that Arthur Smith's a bad play caller. I think he's very, very well known. I think everybody knows who Arthur Smith is. He's been in the league for a long time. This is his first full year as a college offensive coordinator, but I mean, it's not like it was his first rodeo calling plays.
Right.
But I think, look, wait, hold on. Give me 1 second, and I'll let you get to your point. Arthur Smith is going to inherit an offense that has a lot of firepower. But do I think that they're going to spread the football around as much as they can? Yes, they're going to spread it around a lot. Their number 2 receiver went 24 overall, I think. Or I think they went, what did he go? Where did Carnell Tate go in the draft? Did he
he was
overall. Why did I say 24?
He was the first overall pick.
No. 4th overall in this past draft.
4th overall, but he was one of the top 4th overall picks.
Right. I get what you're saying. But the fact that this cat, who's the number 2 receiver on a roster like this, ends up going number 2. And look, the stats aren't going to blow you out the water. 51 for 875 and 9 scores. It's not really impressive. But when you look at his combine numbers, that's where people kind of look towards him and say, man, this guy could be really, really special. I mean, 6'2", runs a 4.53 40, pretty impressive. But in my opinion, I think you could have gotten him later on in the draft, but that's besides the point. It's the fact that you're running an offense that is just now so wide open at this point in time, and we don't know if this is going to be Arthur Smith's only season at OSU. Because remember, the revolving door of offensive coordinators that has come through Columbus, it's been pretty frequent. When one OC comes through Ohio State, he's gone out the door. Dating back to Chip Kelly, goes there, they win a national title. He's now the OC at the Raiders. Last year with Brian Hartline, did he have his moments where he was not a very good play caller? Yes, the postseason, Big Ten championship, and college football playoff. Horrible play calling, but it got him a job at South Florida. Now you bring in Arthur Smith. How similar is this guy compared to your other 2 coordinators? I mean, NFL experience like Chip Kelly does, but I think it's interesting the way that the revolving door of OCs has come and gone at Ohio State. But I just don't see Arthur Smith staying in Columbus past the month of January. I just don't.
Well, let me point this out, Lucas. Our defensive coordinator came from the NFL, Matt Patricia.
I know.
Built a heavy, pressured, heavy, hard-nosed defense.
I know. They like to blitz a lot.
And now he's back as our defensive coordinator and staying in Columbus.
Well, I'm not talking about
defense. No, but get. Let me
let you have your piece. I let myself have my piece. I'll let you have your piece.
But Arthur Smith, let me say this. First year with us, puts our offense really on the top of the polls, and say Chris Henry Jr. sets an all-time record. Jeremiah Smith and him are in the race for the Biletnikoff Award and possibly the Heisman. And Chris Henry Jr. has a hell of a season. Both receivers have a hell of a season. Okay. Over 1,000 yards. And we win a national title with Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith stays. That could be the possible. And that's what I believe will happen this season with Arthur Smith. Because what I've seen of him through camp and what I've got my insight, he's going to do something. He's mixing it up. But especially he's going to be able to let Julian say him, get out of the pocket on run pass on play action options and throw the ball deep. I've seen him throw that ball deep to Chris Henry Jr. in the slot, go routes. I've seen him throw every kind of pass to Chris Henry, and Chris Henry's got them through camp. And I said, if they're going to play this good and mix it up, and especially put Tavion St. Clair in a little bit,
you better be able to keep him.
Well, Tavion St. Clair, he's staying. I guarantee you. Tavion St. Clair is going to be an awesome quarterback here at Ohio State, and especially he's going to, around this offense with Chris Henry Jr. and who we've got coming next, Dante Harrison, brother of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, I'm okay.
I'm telling you, our offense is going to be lit.
I'm not saying that they won't.
But I mean, Arthur Smith's going to have a lot of weapons and a lot of firepower. But at the same time, I've seen what he's done with this firepower in camp, through practice, through sessions, and even recently. And what I've gained with my own two eyes behind these sunglasses.
Oh,
But and everybody says I'm delusional and I don't got the access. Brother, I got photos with the Ohio State football team out and about, and even I got couple facility photos. So I've got my ways. But as far as SEC media days, let's get to that. You know what? Texas has not surprised me one single second. Okay. Steve Sarkisian, again, he goes on that they're going to do this and this. Arch Manning he believes Arch Manning that has gotten it down. He's got all his errors. He's got the bugs kicked out. Arch Manning's he's confident. I wouldn't be surprised if Arch Manning fumbles again like he did last year and goes 9-3 with the Longhorns. Okay. And then fumbles it. I mean, Arch Manning, everybody, especially from Texas' side of the football, has been saying Arch Manning's the biggest thing. He's not been the biggest thing. The only reason he's so big is because of that last name on that jersey, Manning. He has not proven to be a good quarterback. Only in the games where he can throw multiple touchdowns against weak opponents. But then when it came to Georgia and Ohio State, that didn't matter. Throwing picks, getting sacked, forced fumble. That didn't matter. Let me go on with Ole Miss. Yeah, Ole Miss. Like, congratulations, Pete Golding. You're talking about going back to a national title with the same team. You got a couple guys coming back. But my question is, have you really kicked the bugs out?
Yes.
And that's really functioned?
Yes.
Because say you play Ohio State, lose the national title, lose in the Peach Bowl, and you fumble it. I'm just saying, you say you've got all the bugs kicked out, and then guess what? The bugs kick back, against Georgia or like Alabama.
The bugs kicked out. What do you mean? Like
getting all the errors and getting all the errors fixed, interceptions, forced fumbles, allowing more touchdowns. So that's my other thing. Tennessee.
Okay, wait. How did Ole Miss allow more touchdowns? What's your point there?
From where I see it from the regular season this past year, where there were some moments against like Georgia when they played Georgia.
Okay.
They had moments in those windows where they could have scored on 3rd and 8.
Are you talking about the first time they play or the playoff?
The first time.
Okay.
The first time they played.
Second time I was there at the playoff. I saw with my own eyes what happened during that football game.
Listen, I was watching that Sugar Bowl game too on TV. But the first time was my concern. Say if Georgia comes back and beats y'all this year. Okay, and then let's go on to Tennessee. Josh Heupel, congratulations. DGG, the 5'11", 200-pound running back. I mean, in my opinion, that offense is going to be good, but they've got to figure out how he's going to fit in their system. With also, they can pass the ball too, so they got to mix it up. Because Tennessee, for the last couple of years on offense, yeah, they've gotten some ground, but against like top-tier teams like Ohio State and Georgia, that hasn't proven anything to me. They lost a lot of those majority. Like again, they had windows, especially in that playoff game against Ohio State. They had windows where they could score, where they could have scored. But you know what? They made the calls that made the poor decisions. Forced fumbles, interceptions, turnovers.
Yes.
Alabama, I explained this to Jackson Thursday night. Caleb DeBoer saying like, Keelan Russell is going to do this and this and this. And they figured out how, they're going to get that offense fully functional and they're going to get everybody on the same page. Can y'all do it in week 1 against Florida State without fumbling it? Because y'all said literally last season in the same media, And I remember Caleb DeBoer literally saying he's got everything under control, and he was gonna fix the errors on offense and defense.
Okay.
Didn't believe him, and still don't believe him, and still hasn't proven it. The rest of it, as far as I'm concerned, until I get to Georgia. Georgia, now that's the team I really am impressed with. Kirby Smart, he's got his system set, and he's trying to get the situation with all the DUI charges and everything else fixed.
Okay, well, that's you can't really solve that, Caden, because
No. I know that, Lucas Hill, but I'm just
kids
saying,
being kids at the end of the day. We're really stupid.
right? But I'm saying, like, he knows how to get his system right. He's got everybody on the same page, and they're going to play. And from what Kirby Smart said, they're going to play a lot higher physical football, especially on defense, because they haven't been playing it for the last couple of years, ever since they won that second title. But I'm going to be impressed with what Kirby Smart does this season, and I think that they'll be a good playoff team. And my thing is, I see Georgia and Texas in the SEC title, and Georgia just absolutely smokes them.
Okay.
I told Jackson Alabama loses 9-3 and is eliminated from the playoffs.
Alabama goes 9-3 this year,
and it's eliminated out of the playoffs.
Funny as you say it, I do have Bama going 9-3. So
I guess we both agree on ranking. Georgia 11-1, unless they can pull it off, and Kirby Smart has got all the bugs out, and he's got everybody on the same page. My thing.
Okay.
But that's just my 2 cents, Lucas. On SEC media days, especially, I've watched and I've heard all the news around SEC media days, and I've been following it on social media. So, gotcha. And from what I've been able to gain,
you got anything else for us before we let you go, man?
Other than that, I'm honestly ready for Big Ten media days, and I expect Ohio State to really set the pace at the Big Ten media days. Just, Coach Day, I pray Coach Day just tells them simply, they're there to win, and they're there, and Ohio State is going to gain back the national championship, because that is the one main of 3 goals you do to Ohio State. Win games. Beat that team up north, you win a national title. I mean, that's been the standard since the great Woody Hayes. Win games, beat the team up north, and get a national title. I mean, it's plain and simple. So I'm confident Ohio State's just going to send that message directly. Indiana and Michigan, I can tell that they're going to make excuses, and they're going to do all this and this and this. But
what is their excuse then?
Trust me, when you hear Coach Whittingham and you hear Kurt Signetti with all the new guys they're bringing in.
But what is their excuse?
Oh, Kurt Signetti is going to probably go on and say, they're going to go undefeated, and that he's got all his new guys in situated, and they've got all the bugs fixed out early. But my question is, let's go to the big question against Ohio State at Indiana. When you make the calls on certain situations, especially when your offense is locked up, are you going to make the right call, or are you going to fumble? That's my question. Is he going to make it? So with their new quarterback transfer from TCU, is he really?
Josh Hoover. Yeah, Josh Hoover is a fantastic quarterback. I think he does get better with his decision making, and I think that he will do that because you do have a very consistent play caller, Mike Shanahan, who, by the way, you still have him there at Indiana. What is Mike Shanahan's system all about? You need a system quarterback in there. And that was exactly what Fernando Mendoza was. He knew how to run his offense. He knew how to spread the football around, and he knew when to take off when he needed to. That's exactly what Josh Hoover can do. It's not like Josh Hoover's a bad quarterback. Now, is he like exactly what Fernando Mendoza was? Absolutely not. Yeah. And I'm not expecting him to be Fernando Mendoza. I do expect him, though, to be the leader of this offense. And I think he will be at the end of the day because he is a very, very consistent.
But here's my thing. There could be a situation where Mike Shanahan makes a call and it backfires. So,
Okay, well, what would that be then?
a situation, say 3rd down and 8, or 1st and 20, a 2nd down and 9, and they're stopped. Mike Shanahan can make the call for a run pass that could cause a forced fumble. Especially with the play action, because Ohio State's defense has proven against the play action to cause turnovers. Those out of nowhere turnovers. So that's my thing. And that could backfire. So I'm expecting that he makes at least the right calls other than the usual, than a missed call, but I'm going to let them figure that out before, they really get things going at Indiana. And especially with Michigan, Kyle Whittingham is new to the system. Has he really got everybody under his roof? And especially, does he got that program insane? Does he got the offense insane? The defense thing insane? So, that's my question for both of them. So
see what happens. Caden, we appreciate your time, man. Always enjoy your phone calls, brother. We appreciate you being a part of the Southern sports scene as always, man. Have a great rest of the night, and I know you got some stuff that you got to say about your Buckeyes.
Well, it's not about my Buckeyes tonight. My Buckeyes, really? I'll say about the Buckeyes next week, because I'm going to let Ohio State at the Big Ten Media Days let the nation know. But tonight, I'm just going to say, do me a huge favor. Subscribe to the Southern Sports Scene. Click the like button. Please follow this page. Follow Lucas Hill on social media. Follow Southern Sports Scene on social media. You don't want to miss out on the good content this guy posts by any means necessary. And Lucas Hill is a good friend of mine. We've had our differences, but we've come to agreements on a lot of things.
Wait. I don't know if we agree on a lot, but okay.
We agree on some things, but not on a lot of things.
Disagree.
Right. But my point is, make sure you guys subscribe to Lucas Hill, like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to not miss on any videos or live stream he does like this. Lucas, what do you post stream? Every Friday and Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yes.
Every Tuesday and Friday. You don't want to miss out. But he posts.
By the time when we get to week 1 of the season, we will be going 3 days a week. So we'll have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. New schedule.
And
by the way, videos are going to be rampant. We're going to be ramping up the videos come week 1. So you better.
I'm pumped.
So you better get yourself ready. Let me just tell you, we're going to have a hell of a season this year.
I'm ready for this season, and you best believe. But ladies and gentlemen,
go ahead, Katie. You can finish it out.
But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, you don't want to miss out on the good content that Lucas Hill, here to my left, posts, because this guy posts some good stuff, and it's good as hell. And I like it. But I'll tell you what. If you're a big sports fanatic like myself and you like the facts, hit this guy up, because you don't want to miss out on the good stuff he does, the good content he posts. So, like I said, subscribe to Southern Sports Scenes. Like.
Say cheese, Caden.
Cheese.
That was for Jackson.
Subscribe, like, comment, and you don't want to miss out on anything he posts. Now, I've got a YouTube channel. If Lucas wants, I could say my YouTube channel. But that's it.
What you got?
Caden the Diesel Freak. I'm going to be returning some live streams. This Saturday will be my first live stream back Saturday. I will be doing another live stream. So Saturday and Sunday, I'll be giving my extra thoughts. I will be doing Shop Talk on Saturday Shop Talk. It's brought to you by my good friends who also sponsor my channel by a partnership deal. Sunday will be the usual college football show with my thoughts on recruitment and other news from around the college football world. My thoughts on news of recruitment and otherwise some other news, including the news of Jack Moynihan, Brady's son, talking with the University of Michigan. I'm going to get on to that Sunday too, because that's been a conversation that I've been having with some Wolverine fans that let's just say a lot of them are begging Michigan to get the deal done early. So, and then other news from Ohio State with my access. So, sure y'all subscribe. But this isn't about me. This is this guy. It's about this guy.
Wrong way.
So,
Point your finger. Point your thumb around.
I'm pointed towards you.
Okay, well, it's mirrored. Go to the other way.
That way.
There you go. Good job.
Never mind. Southern Sports Team. Like I said, subscribe, like, comment. You don't want to miss out. This guy posts some good stuff. And again, if you are not a subscriber of the Southern Sports Team, hosted by the good man, the legend himself, Lucas Hill, you better be, because you ain't gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out on some good stuff. And trust me, I give it a oh hell yeah rating because it's that good. But Lucas, you know where to find me, and catch you next time, good sir.
Later, dude. Let's get in the diesel freak, ladies and gentlemen. A freaking, like I said, there are several callers that always come into the show that have their moments like this. Feinbaum's got some great callers. Okay, they not like my callers. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. So, all right, if you guys want to join the link, hey, by the way, links in the description below. So just pointing that out there. All right, a lot more that we got to get into on SEC Media Days. A lot of stuff that occurred over the weekend. Some good sound bites, by the way. Let me just tell you. So he did mention about Pete Golding, and I love Pete Golding. Let me just tell you, my two favorite ones were John Sumrall and Pete Golding. Absolutely awesome stuff that we got to hear from Golding. And by the way, I have a love for Pete Golding. He's a former Southeastern defensive former Southeastern defensive coordinator. So I always love that stuff. But Pete Golding brought a very interesting perspective to SEC Media Days. So this was interesting. Talking season was absolutely incredible, just like the head ball coach used to say. So, man, you can't help but love what Pete Golding has done with that team. And it's just been absolutely insane. So let's kind of talk about a little bit of his discussions that they had at SEC Media Days. So he was throwing some fireworks, man. And he talked about the tampering situation in college football, which in my opinion, wrong guy to ask about it, since what happened with him, what happened with Luke Farrelly? Oh, yeah, that situation. Man, it was crazy. So with Golding, you just have to ask him this. Let's not act like recruiting in college football for the last 100 years is the most moral thing that's ever existed. He's not wrong about that. He's absolutely not wrong with that. Tampering has been going on for years and years and years. Here's the problem that a lot of people have with his answer. They feel like he's the wrong one to be answering the question. I'm not denying that because of the whole situation, but I also believe that, I mean, there's no real evidence that ties him to the tampering allegations. There's text messages, obviously. You have the whole situation where Dabo comes out and says some stuff like that, which, by the way, you just don't do in the middle of nowhere. But regardless of that, I do believe that Golding did make a very valid statement when it came to tampering. It was very interesting that he did mention it. The model has obviously been broken, and I'm all for everybody being on the same playing field and doing the same things. I get it, but I think that's in any job, right? Like coaches, we're under contract. You don't think other ADs are calling us during the year? Same ones that are bitching about all this stuff, and the same ones calling coaches to come to other schools. So it's everywhere. It's in every profession. I'm not saying I've got all the answers. Well, guess what? You have the situation that happened with his predecessor, Lane Kiffin, who is entertaining other jobs literally days after beating Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. And what happened? 3 days later, there's news he's going to go take the LSU job. What did he think was going to happen? Obviously, people were going to have a big problem with it. Of course they were. Of course. So. It's just a weird situation. But because of what happened back in January with the tampering ordeal, this is why that situation has been brought back up, because of this whole thing with the Farrelly situation with, he was in classes and then all of a sudden he unenrolled and enrolled at Ole Miss. That's why there's a lot of attention drawn to him about this tampering thing. Him trying to play it off, I understand. He has to. But it's not really going to help him. But who knew what was going to happen there? So you knew that there was obviously going to be fireworks from that. But Pete Golding was gold. I mean, comedy gold throughout that entirety of media days. And it was so funny watching him throughout that thing. So, man, we'll see. All right, Artistically Incredible, it says, don't know if you know Malik Murphy. Yeah. I've been knowing Malik Murphy. He was a quarterback at Duke. He was there before Darian Mensah. Quarterback for Oregon State, but the Texas teams were contacting him after a spring game performance in 2023. I know. Oh, trust me, I know. That was happening for a long time. Okay. Even prior to the portal being open, there were that was a whole thing that was going on. Oh, trust me, I am well aware that teams were contacting Malik Murphy. So that was not a first time thing that I've heard from him. So trust me, I knew about that whole situation. That was a freaking mess. I mean, just a freaking mess of a situation. So we'll see. My guy Reed Cooper on Facebook says Oklahoma, Tennessee, and LSU and Texas. Oh, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and LSU. Texas is going to choke in one of these games. If I were to rank the games that I think they're going to choke at, here's where I think. I give LSU first. Or will I say lose? I get LSU first. I say Oklahoma 2. I say Texas or Tennessee at 3. All right. I'm pretty open to that being a likely situation, because I really, really believe that is what's going to happen. Lane Kiffin also took headlines at media days, going on a 16-minute filibuster. How about that? Would you believe it? But this is what Lane does. So many of you act like you're surprised that, oh my gosh, why would he do this? Why? I mean, only 4 questions. Man, that's stupid. Come on. You knew what was going to happen. You knew. You know we're not stupid. Oh, you know we're not stupid. Oh, man. But y'all know better. Y'all know that this is what Lane does. Lane's been doing this for a very long time. It was funny. So he prattled on for over 16 minutes. It did. He lauded Commissioner Greg Sankey, touched on his love for SEC Media Day, host of Tampa, talked up the positives of his social media hiatus. He never even addressed Ole Miss. So Mike Bratton asked a pretty interesting question regarding his comments via Vanity Fair. Okay, I'm not really a hater on that. I'm really not. I like the fact that there were questions like this being answered. So he brought it up and he asked, and he brought up these statements and he brought up these stats. Ole Miss had the third most SEC wins since 2022. 10 players were signed in the 25 and 20 or 25 draft. 8 of them were drafted and signed in the 26 draft. They've had a top 4 portal class in the last 3 seasons. Meanwhile, the Vanity Fair article says that Oxford's lack of diversity hurt Ole Miss in recruitment. This is what he had to say for it. And I think that this is a very, very odd response.
Coach Michael Bratton from That SEC Podcast. When you were at Ole Miss, you led them to the 3rd most wins in the conference since 22. You had 10 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 25 draft, 8 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 26 class. You had a top 4 portal class each of the last 3 portal cycles you were there. Jackson Dart, 1st-round pick. Yet in a Vanity Fair article, you said Oxford diversity hurt you in talent acquisition. So is it your belief that if there was a little bit more diversity, all those numbers I cited could have been even better?
I had a feeling that was going somewhere. You're doing like really positive stuff the whole way through. I'm like, man, this guy's good. It sounds like you should go work for Jimmy Sexton, man. You're like going a good direction there. You know, I made a challenging decision and change. And I think as I look back to that, I thought I could find a way for everybody to understand. And now as I look back later on, that was never going to happen. And I made a decision that I changed jobs. And as I get older and I go through things and losing both parents, I was actually talking to Ross Dellinger and I kind of said something that might sound kind of funny to you, but you know, I watched the Hulk Hogan special and I realized that I was like, we're all going to die. And so some of the things that we put importance on, we worry about and what this person says and that, like really aren't going to matter. And when I lost my dad, I started thinking that. And I really started thinking, when I grew up, there were 2 people that I thought just wouldn't die. My dad and Hulk Hogan. And then I watched that special and realized like Hulk Hogan died too. Like there's no way Hulk Hogan was ever going to not wrestle and die. And he did. And so it just made me reflect really on like, I can't be so concerned about little things and what people say and this, and you got to make decisions, you got to go with them. And you do things and you make really good decisions and you make poor decisions. And that was a poor usage of a term that I believe, just like many coaches that have been there for, was factual, but over the course of a long interview was bad timing and bad usage of the word. So it is what it is. I apologize when I said it, and moving on.
Okay, so that was long-winded. That was a very, very long-winded response. Hulk Hogan and his dad passing away, relating the two. I think it was an interesting comparison, to say the least. But this is what Lane does. It's not like it's crazy. I think that I'll be honest, I didn't really have much of an issue with it. I think people are mad because of not necessarily how he responded. It's the way, or really not, or I think people are most upset because they think he's avoiding the question when really he's basically saying, look, I've already addressed this. Okay. It was a poor usage of the word. It was a poor use that I shouldn't have used the term, the word, words, plural words about Oxford being hard to win. Okay. And I understand that. The fact of the matter is, though, what's done is done. Okay. Let's spot the ball and let's roll. Yes, artistically incredible. I agree. Hulk Hogan and diversity do not go well together at all. In fact, Hulk Hogan and everything else don't go together at all. I mean, putting Hulk Hogan into the same mix as the comments that he made in the Vanity Fair article don't make any sense at all. Okay? Let's just be clear on that. He addressed the question eventually, but it's the way that he phrased it and the way that he put those two analogies together, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't. So we'll see. I mean, I think Lane did a very good job addressing these questions. The fact that they only had time for 4 questions is actually funny. But this is what Lane does, and I think it's perfect for college football. All right. Heavy SEC day today. Let's finish it off and let's talk about Mississippi State. So Jeff Lebby came out the other day and said, I compare a guy like Kamario Taylor to, you wouldn't believe who. You compare him to Robert Griffin III, to RG3. I'm not against it. I see a lot of RG3 in him. I also see a younger Lamar Jackson. I think that, look, Mississippi State is going to have an interesting schedule this year. I don't know what they're going to look like. I don't know what they're going to be as an offense. I think it sucks that you lose a guy like Brendan Thompson, who's now with the Chargers. You lose that part of your offense. Mississippi State's got an interesting schedule ahead of them. Road games against Minnesota and South Carolina, at LSU, at Texas, at Ole Miss. I don't really see them winning any of those games. Maybe Minnesota. If they go on the road and beat Minnesota, there's a realistic chance they get to 6 wins on the year. Kamario Taylor is going to play a big role in this. Understand, there's been a lot of comparisons between him and the way that RG3 kind of played. And I think it's interesting that Lebby kind of brought RG3 up. I didn't really expect for RG3 to be in the mix, but I mean, I'm not against it. 6'2", 213. Kamario Taylor's a little bit bigger, about 230 pounds. So I wouldn't necessarily say him, but Kamario Taylor is a bit bigger, but he runs harder, man. The thing about that, they try to compare him to Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson is about 20 or 25 pounds lighter than Kamario Taylor. Guys, you put Kamario Taylor in the starting role, you give him time to develop. Guys, he's going to have a fantastic year this year. I really think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC when we get to the end of the year. You know who else has the same measurables? Another quarterback in his conference. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Lenore Sellers. Understand. Come on. Lenore Sellers won a lot of games for South Carolina in his redshirt freshman year. Remember? Huh? Are we stupid to forget what happened in 2024? South Carolina was this close to winning, going to a college football playoff. And guess who was the big reason why? That was Lenoris. You look at the last couple games that South Carolina played in that last little stretch of football games during the month of November. And everybody talks about, oh, Cocktober is here. Cocktober is here. But guess what? Cocktober sparks what happened in November. Flawless game against A&M. Led a team down the field to beat Missouri. Carried this program. Carried that South Carolina team and beat Clemson on the road at Memorial with 3 guys that went top 100 in this last year's draft. He did almost beat Bama that year as well. And he wasn't even good. He wasn't really even – he was still fine-tuning the little things, but Lenore Sellers wasn't even that good in that football game. He wasn't at his full at 100% of what he could do in this offense. Kamario Taylor could be in that same situation in 2026. Man, Mississippi State's got a tough schedule this year. Last year, I am sticking to this. You should have been an 8-win team last year. But you shot yourself in the foot in 3 games. In a 3-game stretch where you play Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. 3 of the 4 games, you had that Tennessee game where you go to overtime and you absolutely piss down your leg in that football game where you really shouldn't have. Okay. You had the momentum going into the last couple minutes of that game. You had the lead. You had the freaking lead in that football game. You have a forced fumble that leads to a touchdown. And at that point in time, your defense actually wasn't bad. Your defense was doing good. You forced turnovers. You shut down the run game for the most part. And then you just pissed down your leg in the fourth quarter. I mean, you cannot do that this year. You had the lead with less than 3 minutes to go in the football game. And then they force OT. Okay, and listen. Mississippi State can't do anything on their last possession. They go 3 and out. They got a punt. So Tennessee scores on the first play after a Deshaun Bishop touchdown. Mississippi State can't do anything on their possession. Ball game. That's the first one. Let's talk about that Florida game. Guys, they were in field goal range. They forced 2 turnovers despite being down 20-7. Devon Booth rushed for a touchdown late in the game. They get down and get into field goal range. Okay, they force a 3 and out from Florida. They're at the Florida 29. It's 1st and 2nd down. Okay. And they piss it away. Blake Shapen throws a horrible interception. Ball game. They kick the field goal. They're winning the football game. They're going to go to the Swamp and they're going to beat Miss Florida. And then the Texas game. Where, man, you should have beaten Texas. The collapse at home against Texas. You're up 31-14. You're up 38. You're up 38-21. Okay. You're up 17 with less than 10 minutes to go. Oh, dude, you should have beaten this team. You had all the freaking momentum in that football game, and you just pissed it away. I mean, just pissed it away, dog. It was horrible. It was just a disaster, bro. But whose fault is that? It's 4th and 1. Well, here's the biggest play from that football game, too. It's 4th and 1. Arch Manning throws to Parker Livingstone. There's a roughing the passer penalty on Mississippi State. Changed the outcome of that game. Mississippi State can't hold on. They go to overtime. They can't handle their business. Blake Shapen loses the football. Beat yourself up. You choked in the fourth quarter. 3 times you had the lead in the fourth, and you completely pissed down your leg. Completely. So whose fault is that? That was Mississippi State's this past year. And I got into it with somebody earlier today, and I kind of want to address it because he said, oh my gosh, well, we could have, would have, should have. Listen. It's the fact that this is insane. This is insane that this dude was so freaking pissed off over what I said. So he says 8 wins last year is crazy. I said this earlier today. With the return of Zach Arnett as a DC, which, by the way, I was advocating for Zach Arnett to be your defensive coordinator, which he should have been. Well, really, I was advocating for Coleman Hutzler to no longer be your DC after his first full year. He was a horrible hire. He should not have been your DC in 2026. Or in 2024 and 2025, really. They should have fired him at the end of the year. I don't know why Levy didn't. And then he said, 8 wins last year is crazy. The schedule was beyond harder last year. LOL. And then he just said, could have been a 3-win also. Anywhere from 3 and 8 were possible. Hell, I could say 12 is possible. Doesn't mean it's realistic. Yeah, I mean, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I said horrible turnovers. In field goal range to beat Florida. Fourth quarter collapse against Texas. There's 8 wins. And then he says, you did not watch MSU. Sit this out. If you're going to sneak all the games they choke, then give Max some of the ones they snuck. ASU and Arkansas were barely wins. By your illogical logic, which makes no sense. They could have won 8. They could have also won 12. Like what? 12 this year too. Why not? We were not a good team last year, and absolutely we're not in any shape an 8-win team, possible team. Shapen was bad. The O-line and defensive line were some of the worst ever seen. So much better this year. Kind of crazy to say almost 8 last year, but only 6-7 this year. No, because the schedule is harder this year. Made no sense. And I just said, and literally this was my tweet. And I got a lot of love from Mississippi State fans. Sit this one out. Nah, I'm good. You just have zero idea what's coming out of your mouth. I sure do. That's why I had that. I sure do. I know what Mississippi State is capable of. I think you got some deep pieces at the line of scrimmage at the end of the day. Which, by the way, it's not like there is a I'm trying to look, by the way. So, he's all artistically incredible. And man, that game was crazy. Then Texas back up, comes in and throws a game-winning touchdown. Yeah, that was crazy. But guys, I think Mississippi State is going to take this next step forward. I really think with a 9-game SEC schedule, it's going to get difficult down the stretch. Make no mistake. I think when you look at home games that they have, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Auburn, 3 games that I think could define whether or not Mississippi State is a bowl-eligible team. I think you have 2 guaranteed wins, Louisiana Monroe and then Texas Tech. Who knows what happens in Minneapolis? They could go on the road, and I think that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. Drake Lindsay, one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Got to speak with him at Manning Passing Academy last month, and he was such a fun interview that I had. And facing off against a guy like Camario Taylor. Camario Taylor may have to win a lot of games for Mississippi State this year. There's not a whole lot of firepower returning. They do have some key pieces from the high school ranks. I think their receiving core is young. Offensive line is still young. But Fluff Bothwell, who should be one of the best backs in the SEC this year, returns. He provides that safety valve that Camario Taylor needs at the end of the day to be an efficient quarterback, a guy that he can trust at the end of the day. It's still going to be a really, really good football team. I think that there's still a lot that we are going to expect from Mississippi State this year. I know that you lose Devon Booth, who went undrafted this past year. But listen, Fluff Bothwell is going to take this step forward. Efficient running back. He's the number 1 guy at the end of the day. I think that Mississippi State at the end of the day, this could be a 6 or 7 win team very easily. Missouri, maybe Alabama, Vanderbilt, Auburn are 4 games that I think could spell who knows what happens for Mississippi State. They win those 4 games. They win 4 SEC games this year. They're going to be playing for a bowl game. Now, I don't know what happens with Minnesota, but I think you handle business against Louisiana Monroe and Texas Tech. You get to 4 SEC wins. That is the magic number for them, just like for I think it was either Auburn or Kentucky last year when the magic number was, I think, 3 or 4 for them to get to a bowl game. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for us here on the Southern Sports Scene. Thank you guys for hopping on in. Always appreciate you all talking some ball. Thank you all for joining. Make sure y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe down below. Turn on the bell notifications so that you are notified every time we go live, posting a video or posting a short. And as always, guys, stay blessed and don't stress.